Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More, and you are looking at the Laundromat car wash shop and apartment I bought in June of 2023, and this is what it looked like when I first bought it. It looks a little different now, and in this video, I'm finally going to go over some of the expenses and how much it costs to run the laundromat. So I've talked about how much we've made, how many quarters we've collected, and some other profit coming in, but we haven't talked about expenses. Now, I have talked about how the laundromat is not making money, and we'll see, I've got a fancy little chart at the end, if it is making money now or not. So there are some expenses that will probably surprise you in both directions on how expensive they are and how cheap they are. And this is not a big laundromat, as you can see, and there's still a lot of room for improvement. So I think we can still do better than we're doing right now. Plus, we've got some additional sources of income we can pursue if we want to as well. All right, so this is in a small town of Kersey, Colorado. I was able to get this laundromat through my YouTube channel. So someone who watched my YouTube channels had some family who were thinking of selling this property. They knew I'd want a laundromat because I tried to start another one in a building I already owned. That proved to be too cumbersome with needing water shares that were going to cost me $150,000 plus the building rehab plus all the equipment I would need. I ended up buying this laundromat instead that was already up and running. Didn't have to buy any extra water, but it is very small. And I also ended up getting a lease on another laundromat a couple months after that, which is much bigger. Already set up as a laundromat. We've gotten some more machines from another defunct laundromat to replace that. That laundromat is almost ready to go. We had some guys in there installing machines last week. They thought it would only take them 3 days. It's taken them longer, and they had another job to do this week, so hopefully they'll be back soon. But in any event, soon that one will be open, and that one should bring in a lot more money than this one. But of course, we'll have videos and talk about both of them, what they make here throughout the end of the year and next year's. Here is what the laundromat looks like now. We painted the front, added a newer sign. We still haven't painted the sides yet. We have another sign coming eventually. I'm not sure how long it will take, but eventually we'll get one. This is the back apartment back here, which we can rent out. It's not rented out yet. We'll talk about that. Here's the car wash. It's got one bay there, and then an outside bay here as well, which a lot of people didn't even know it had an outside bay. But we're painting another car wash sign on the other side of the building over here. It's got a small vacuum, and we did add a mini split recently, so it has heat and air conditioning now, which is fantastic. This trash can is full every time I come here, so people definitely like that trash can, although the vacuum does not make a lot of money, and I've shown those sales charts and graphs before, and that's kind of where we're going to paint the car wash sign. The highway is on this side of the building, so we figured most of the traffic would be coming from this side, so we thought it best to paint the car wash sign on there. It's just a sign that will point arrows to the back. We'd given this to our guys a while back. We waited forever to get a permit, got that, and now we reminded them, and they've got it on their schedule now. So we might paint the whole side of the building when we do that too. We'll just see, but we're trying to be budget conscious with this building as well too, because we can't just throw unlimited amounts of money at it, because it is a small laundromat and doesn't have an absolute massive amount of potential for making money. All right, this is the apartment and what it looked like when I first bought the property as well, and we did change this and remodel it as well. We've kind of left it vacant because I was using it to count quarters and just trying to figure out what we're doing with the place. Recently, we decided to put it up for rent and see if we can rent it. And we actually thought we had it rented. One of our actual people who works for us wanted to rent it, could actually help clean, work with the laundromat. It seemed like the perfect situation, but perfect situations don't always turn out to be perfect. And turns out they did not need a place after all. I think they had a landlord who was planning to move back into a house they were in, and so they had to find a new place to live. Turns out the landlord decided not to move back in. He wasn't making them move. They didn't want to move, so they're staying where they are now. As you can see, it has some beautiful, amazing green carpet. And if you're wondering, the laundromat is just to the right of these walls. Where that closet is where our kind of vending machines and pop machines are now. And then you can see they had the vending machine plugged in through a hole in the wall into the apartment when we bought it. We, of course, fixed that. And this is what the apartment looks like now. It's a little nicer. So, yeah, like I said, we thought we had it rented. It's not. And we'll just see how it goes from here on out. It isn't very noisy in here from the laundromat. or the car wash. So we've tested that, tried that out. Some people always talk about how when someone said that light didn't work in the back toilet, it does. Someone talked about how it's going to be really noisy. Well, the laundromat closes at 9, so and the washers, dryers really aren't very noisy at all. No noisier than, say, your furnace running, and the car wash isn't noisy at all either. It's all pretty well insulated, so that's not too big of an issue. Now here is the back car wash room, which we've got all kinds of stuff in here. I've got it piled full of more stuff since we've got the apartment ready to rent. And we've got some snacks and different stuff and things in here, cleaning supplies for the laundromat in this little tiny room here. And this is what the laundromat looked like when I first bought it. It was a little bit different than it is now. I'll show you what it looks like now. And you can see it had 10 top-loading washers on the left. About half of them didn't work. It had 6 smaller stackable dryers on the right, plus 2 giant old dryers in the back. Quite a few of those dryers did not work when I bought it. We took out all the stuff that doesn't work. It had a swamp cooler to cool it in the summer, right? They're the old machines there. And then it had a little heater above the vending machine over there to keep it warm in the winter. And then it had a pop machine that did not work as well over there. These really old tables. And I didn't get any figures, any expenses, anything when I bought this. It was all a big surprise, and the sellers just kind of wanted to get rid of it. I paid $300,000 for this property, which came with the real estate, came with the shop and back, which is about 600 square feet, came with the apartment, all of that. So it was pretty cheap for all the real estate and everything, but there's a reason for that too, and that it doesn't really make any money. It was a little bit run down and needed some work. You can see the vending machine was pretty empty. Behind that door goes a little room right behind the dryers just for access for mechanicals, things like that. The coin machine is there, which works, and those are very expensive, so that's a good thing. And yeah, we've done quite a bit here to make it better, which we'll show you right now. So here is what it looks like now. We painted, we did new flooring, we even painted those old dryers to match the newer dryers. We added 3 front load machines, took out all the ones that don't work. Got a new pop machine, well, new to me pop machine, that one still needs some work. Put candy in the vending machine. That heater, oh, a little dirty and trash up there. That heater did not work very well, so we got a mini split for the whole thing. And you can see, people are using it now. So it has been used. Sales are going up. That's fantastic. We'll show you the sales and expense figures here in just a second. So it's much, much better, but it's still very, very small. And there's things we can do to improve it. We want to add more dryers, take out the big old ones, add more stackable dryers. We have a couple more front loads we can put in here, and a couple more top loads if we really want to. We can move that table out. So there are ways to make more money here, but it's a very small town, very small laundromat, and it is limited. People suggested, you know, expanding it. Well, that's the utility room, mechanical room, a giant hot water heater's in there, electrical. We can't really move that very easily. You know, the apartments on the left, maybe we could take out some walls and make it smaller, but then that brings into issue permits and different things, and we don't want to bring in too many permit issues in a laundromat because it could bring in a whole lot of concerns. So we're leaving for it as it is right now, but here's what I promised you, the expenses, what it might actually be making right now. So the top line, our total sales, as you can see, those have been going up. Some costs that might surprise you. These are monthly costs. Insurance is $550 a month. So I'm probably going to shop around, see if I can get a cheaper policy for that. The reason it's so expensive is because it's a laundromat. You have lots of water, lots of things that can go wrong, flooding, plus that includes the business insurance for it as well. So that's a big expense is insurance. I wish it was lower. I don't know if we can get that lower or not, but we'll see. Utilities are $531 in the last month. I adjusted them some before that. That's total. So the utilities in the last month, water was $252, electric was $103, and gas was $176. So the utilities really aren't that high. It's insurance that's really high. Our taxes, these are the property taxes for the whole property, $91 a month. So, and this is the expenses for the entire property, not just a laundromat. This includes the apartment, the shop, everything. So in this last month, we sort of turned a profit. And I say sort of because it says we made $287 after extracting those other expenses. Our sales have been doing much better, as you can see. However, I do have a loan on this property. I did not include that in here. So with that mortgage payment, I definitely do not make money. But we can rent the apartment. We have it listed for $1,000 a month right now. Will it rent for that? I think it should, but it might be tricky finding someone who wants to live next to a laundromat. Not sure. If we really wanted to rent that shop, we could probably rent it for $800 a month, in that price range, I would think. For storage, someone could maybe even run a small business out of it if they really wanted to. So we could, being conservative, add $1,500 to $1,800 in income to the property, when it would actually, make money, especially if we can get the laundromat sales up. And I think it would be realistic to be bringing in, $500 to $600 a week in sales, which would be, almost double what there is now. Is that too ambitious? Maybe. But if it did that, then it definitely would make money. It'd be a good investment. And if we get to that point, I could decide, hey, do I want to keep this? Is it worth my time, my hassle, or do I want to sell it? Because if you have a business that sells money, especially laundromat, they can be very, very valuable. I obviously will be doing the same thing with the new laundromat, which is much bigger, has many more machines, and they're being installed right now, as I said. It'll be really, really interesting to see how much money it makes. There's no apartment, there's no car wash. I don't own the real estate on that one. I just have a lease that's $2,800 a month, which includes water. So the costs are actually pretty low on that as well. And, I've heard estimates anywhere from $8,000 to $14,000 a month can be brought in from a really good laundromat. So we'll see how all that goes. And something else we didn't consider in these previous numbers are my time, because it does take time. We've kind of been going there once or twice a week to clean, collect quarters, do things like that. It doesn't include maintenance on the machines. There has been some maintenance, some purchases of new machines. So there would be those expenses too. So we'll just have to see how all of that shapes up over time. All right, that's what we've got. We'll have many more updates on this business. Of course, we'll keep showing the weekly sales as well. I'll try to link to our last one. It's just a few videos ago that show our record sales from, well, almost record sales last week, but definitely record monthly sales. And then we'll have more updates on the new laundromat. And of course, my flips, rentals. We've got another flip under contract to buy. Last week, I'm buying another flip tomorrow. We've got other flips we're working on. So there is quite a few things going on, and I am still doing a lot of real estate stuff, don't worry, even though I'm also doing some of this laundromat stuff. Love to hear what you think. I'll be back soon.